What's going on, everyone? In this video, we're going to go over how to retire as a millionaire regardless of income level. This strategy is a simple and effective method that anyone can follow. There are 4 parts to this video. The first part of the video is for demonstration purposes. We're going to go over what it would take someone to retire as a millionaire if they were trying to save for 35 years. I'm going to use real-life data from the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I'll show you why this method is not very practical or doable. In the second part of the video, I'll show you the tried and true method of how to retire as a millionaire. This strategy has been historically proven to be practical and doable at any income. In the third part of the video, I'll give you a brief overview of the core part of the strategy that makes this strategy doable. Without this fundamental understanding of the strategy, you might not be able to follow through with it and potentially go about it in the wrong way. In the last part of the video, I'll go over the step-by-step method on exactly how to carry out this strategy. The last part is probably the most important part of the video. Make sure to watch the entirety of the video because there are crucial information all throughout the video that you do not want to miss out on. Now, for the sake of this video, we're going to assume that there's a hypothetical person named Tom. Tom is 30 years old and he wants to retire at the typical retiring age of 65. So Tom has 35 years to become a millionaire. So for the first part of the video, we're going to go over what would happen if Tom was to try to save enough money for 35 years to retire as a millionaire. Tom would have to save $28,571.43 each year for him to have $1 million after 35 years. Now, there are monthly expenses such as housing, transportation, food, clothing, utilities, healthcare, and much more. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average monthly expense for a one-person household is $3,405, which increases as the number of persons per household increases. Annually, Tom's expenses would be $40,860. Doing some basic math, Tom would have to make at least $69,431.43 after taxes, which, depending on where you live, would account to about $95,000 to $100,000 before taxes. According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual salary for a 30-year-old is around $50,700. So even if Tom was to live extremely frugally, it's almost impossible for him to save up enough money to retire as a millionaire. In this demonstration, we didn't even take into account inflation. Taking into account inflation decreasing the value of his dollar would make it even more difficult for Tom to try and reach his retirement goal. Now, let's get into part 2 of the video, a more practical and simple strategy that anyone can follow, regardless of income level. The S&P 500 index gives a broad overview of how the US economy is performing. We'll get into more details about the S&P 500 index and what it is in the next part of the video. But for this part, just know that investing into an S&P 500 index fund has historically returned on average more than 10% a year when reinvesting all dividends. When we take into account inflation, the rate of return is about 8% a year. If Tom was to invest $467 every month into an S&P 500 index fund for the next 35 years, he would end up with about $1,579. Tom would have contributed about 20% of that over a 35-year period. And the rest would have been all gains simply from his money working for him and growing exponentially. As Warren Buffett likes to say, don't work for your money, let your money work for you. And this is exactly how we approach it with this strategy. Now, instead of $467, if Tom was to invest $500 every month, at the end of the 35-year period, Tom would have about $1,071,283. That's $71,000 more just by investing an extra $33 every month. On top of that, if Tom was to invest just $1,000 at the beginning of his investment journey, that would amount to almost $15,000 extra by retirement. Albert Einstein said, "The most powerful force in the universe is compound interest." Now, although we're not talking about interest over here, we're still talking about compounded growth. Investing less than $500 every month is very, very practical, and Tom can continue to live and enjoy his life while continuing to invest for his retirement. The numbers and everything look great, but how do you actually carry through with it in real life? I'll get to that step by step later in the video, But first, let's see what would happen if Tom was 20 years old and he had 45 years to retire. In that case, Tom would only need to invest $210 every month. And if Tom decided to invest $467 every month, that would come out to a whopping $2.25 million. That's almost 125% more just by investing earlier. That's why it's never too early to start investing. By investing early, you're not only setting yourself up for greater gains, but it's also easier for you. On the other hand, if you are older, it's definitely better to start late rather than never. See, if Tom was 40 years old and he had 25 years to retire, he would have to invest about $1,100 every month. $1,100 does seem like a lot, but if Tom budgets wisely, it's still very doable. Also, there are investments that have higher returns, but they are riskier. I plan to cover those in later videos. The scope of this video is for the general public, in order to follow a very simple and effective strategy and not have to think about it too much. Alright, now on to part 3. What is the S&P 500 index? The S&P 500 index was launched in 1957 by credit rating agency Standard & Poor's and is comprised of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the US by market capitalization. To be listed on the S&P 500 index, companies have to meet certain criteria, so it's not always the top 500 companies. Each company in the S&P 500 index has a weight based on its own individual market cap out of the entire market cap of all 500 companies. For example, if the total market cap of all the companies of the S&P 500 index was $10 trillion and company XYZ and the S&P 500 had a market cap of $2 trillion, then company XYZ would have a weight of 20%. If company XYZ's market cap changed, then that change would affect only 20% of the entire value of the S&P 500 index. Because of the depth and diversity of the S&P 500 index, it is considered as one of the best gauges of the US market and the broader economy. You can't invest directly into the S&P 500 index because it's just an index. You can, however, invest into an index fund that follows the S&P 500 index. For example, the Vanguard 500 Index Fund ETF. Any wise investor will tell you, don't put all your eggs in one basket, meaning diversify your investment to minimize your risk. By investing into an S&P 500 index fund, you're diversifying your investments into about 500 of the largest companies in the US. If 1 out of 500 companies, for whatever reason, was to go down significantly in value, it'll have a very minimal effect on your overall portfolio. Because in the long run, the US economy is always growing, and because of criteria that companies have to meet to be listed on the S&P 500 index, historically, the S&P 500 index has been growing by an average of over 10% a year. Now we're on to part 4, how to carry out this strategy step by step. So now that we understand what the S&P 500 index is, in the fourth part of the video, we're going to go over step by step exactly what Tom needs to do to actually carry out the strategy in real life. Step 1, Tom needs to open up an investment account. There are different types of accounts available to Tom. For example, there are retirement accounts, for example, traditional IRA and Roth IRA. Or if you're in Canada, then RRSP or the TFSA. Many employers even offer a 401k retirement account. There's also the HSA account, and then there's the regular brokerage account. Each of the different accounts have their pros and cons. I can give you a thorough understanding of each of the accounts in a separate video. But for now, I'm going to stick to the main topic of this video. You can even use a combination of different types of accounts. I don't know your personal financial situation, so it's best for you to consult with a financial advisor. Once you've decided on an investment account, then move on to step 2. Step 2, decide on a brokerage firm or a trading platform that you'd like to use. Personally, I like M1 Finance because they allow you to buy fractional shares. Fractional shares means you can buy any fraction of a stock or an ETF instead of buying the entire thing. That's important because let's say, for example, you want to invest $467 and the price of an S&P 500 index fund was $370. If you buy one whole share, that's $370. Buying 2 whole shares would be $740. $40. By being able to buy fractional shares, you'll be able to buy exactly $467 worth, or about 1.26 shares. Once you've decided on a brokerage firm or a trading platform, and you've opened up your investment account, then you can move on to step 3. Step 3, figure out how much you need to invest every month to retire as a millionaire, and then fund your investment account with the appropriate amount. Feel free to use the calculator I put in the description below, or for your convenience, here's a chart on the screen. Feel free to pause the video as needed. Now, step 4, once you've funded your account, then decide on an S&P 500 index fund that you'd like to invest in. As mentioned in the previous part of the video, you can't directly invest into the S&P 500 index because it is just an index, but you can invest in an S&P 500 index fund that follows the S&P 500 index. For example, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF with the ticker symbol VOO. Now, on to step 5. Decide on a date of the month that you'd like to invest, and make sure to invest on that date every month. It's very crucial that you do not skip and that you follow through with it consistently every month until you retire. There are times when the stock market just keeps going down and you'll feel like you're just losing money. But over the long run, the stock market has always gone up. And those who have been consistent and followed through with this strategy, also known as dollar cost averaging, has always come out as winners. If you want to become a millionaire before retirement, it's very doable and many people achieve it. There's no such thing as getting rich quick. So it does take more effort than just simply investing for retirement. It's important to note that the average millionaire has multiple sources of income and different investments. For me personally, my investments comprise of real estate, stocks, ETF, and cryptos. Investing has significantly increased my net worth, which I would not have been able to do if I simply just tried to save my money. The first step to building wealth is to first invest in yourself. And you can do exactly that by hitting the subscribe button and following along with me on my journey towards building wealth and achieving financial success. Don't forget to hit the bell icon button so you do not miss out on any of the important videos that I plan to upload in the future. If you have any comments or would like me to make a video on any certain topics, put it down in the comment section below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.